Now, as war has raged on the physical battlefield, Jewish students and their allies have been fighting a different battle against rising anti-Semitism on university campuses. In a moment, we'll get the perspective of student leaders from around the world. But first, joining us to discuss this is StandWithUs Executive Director of the Emerson Fellowship and Campus Affairs, Rena Nasar First and Brooke Verschleiser. Thank you both very, very much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Brooke, let me turn to you first. You're an Emerson Fellowship alum, one of our leaders on campus, and a senior at Brown. So what's life been like for you on campus in the last year? And I know that you've specifically had to counter a divestment vote.
The Israel topic has definitely been all-encompassing. I'm a biochemistry major, pre-med, studying for my MCAT. But, my main focus right now has been combating misinformation on campus and really trying to get our perspective out there. Last year around Pesach, we had an encampment, and ultimately our administration made a deal with them that they would disband the encampment in exchange for our corporation voting on divestment. And so the way that process normally works is you would bring a proposal to what is called ACERM, which is an advisory committee. And if they believe it meets the criteria to divest, it then goes to the president votes on it, and if she agrees, it then would go to the corporation. But so essentially this deal was, it's going to go to ACERM, but it's completely decided it's already going to the corporation. So it's more of a going through the process. And so at the beginning of this year, some fellow students and I worked on our presentation and actually presented to this committee, and as well as the pro-divestment. And now they are due to make a decision by the end of this month, and it'll then go to the corporation to vote on October.
What kind of support was StandWithUs able to give you during that process?
Yeah, so we actually had two people from StandWithUs in the days leading up to our presentation and help us actually work on our presentation, on our script. And, we were sitting in our Hillel building until they actually had to kick us out, just running through the script, paragraph after paragraph, line after line, and editing all of the little details down until we got it exactly how we wanted it.
Well done to you. And Rena, let's talk about the general campus climate in North America, because I know you normally get 300 plus cases of anti-Semitism in a year. And since October the 7th, it's over 1,000. How is the team dealing with that? And what is the kind of thing that we're looking at?
When talking about anti-Semitism on campus and the campus climate, it's important to first acknowledge that anti-Semitism existed on campus before October 7th. But what October 7th did is that it triggered a significant wave of escalation and radicalization. It started from celebrating the Hamas massacre and calling for days of resistance, to then demonizing Israel's response and echoing repeated calls for destruction, not just of Israel, but of Zionists, especially on campus. The activity we're seeing today is more visible, it's more vocal, it's more hostile, and as you said, it's accelerated, it's compounded. It's coming at students from all sides. We've actually grown our staff, our campus regional managers, we've grown that team across the country to provide more localized support. We're currently active on 320 universities, and that number is growing by the day. And also supporting 215 trained StandWithUs Emerson fellows who are leading the charge in their communities. Over the summer, many administrations published new campus policies against trends like encampments. And it was a hopeful time, but right now, as the year is in full swing, we need to see real consequences for perpetrators. And we're going to hold universities accountable to that.
Yeah, so important to keep their feet to the fire. And so how did these instances vary from school to school?
We're seeing a range of what this activity looks like across campuses. We're seeing demonstrations, mass demonstrations and walkouts, classroom and even dorm room hostility, where professors and even room advisors are pushing anti-Israel narratives and promoting pro-Hamas demonstrations. We're seeing a lot of this activity on social media. Most students are on social media, engaging in all kinds of different platforms, and they're seeing Israel content or even Jewish content get targeted, and seeing anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bigotry fester online, even from friends and peers. They're seeing vandalism and targeting of Jewish communal spaces like Chabad, Hillel, AIPI, Shabbat dinners. And in some cases, we're even seeing physical violence. As all those incidents and manifestations vary, the impact across campuses is largely the same. Students are feeling tremendous social isolation. They're being dropped from student clubs, organizations, friend groups. They're experiencing harassment and bullying. And because of all of this, they're shut out of campus life. They're feeling silenced and unsupported and incredibly vulnerable. And it's important to note that while there are campuses like Columbia, UCLA, University of Michigan, where their climate is a lot more public and discussed and focused on, there are hundreds of schools navigating similar challenges. For me, the most important variation from school to school is not the activity itself, but the school's response to that activity. Is there organized Jewish life and events and campaigns and communities that you can be part of? What is the administrative response looked to anti-Semitism? And is there involvement and support from elected officials and community leaders? I think in campuses where all of those things converge, it's much easier to navigate that climate because you have that support on the ground.
Brooke, we know that when divestment resolutions and anti-Israel or even pro-Hamas manifestations and demonstrations come to campus, it brings division across the campus. So I want to ask you, what did that look like at Brown? And what would your message be to fellow non-Jewish students who are at college because they want to learn, but then they see this egregious behavior happening on their campus?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw exactly that. Just the other day, there was a protest, and one of their chants was, "From Palestine to Lebanon, Israel will soon be gone." And so I think, they've made their stance very clear. They don't want Israel to exist. And so we recently heard Einat Wilf actually came to speak at Brown. And something she said that I thought was really powerful was, now is not the time to be silent. And, we always say, how could anti-Semitism rise so high in the past and no one did anything? And so I think we have to look at our time now and say, now is the time to do something, not to let it get to that level.
Yeah, now really is a time for our allies to stand up. And Rena, what tools are we able to equip students with who are working on all these issues?
The mission of our campus department is to give students the power to shape their college experience by ensuring that they're prepared, informed, supported, and empowered to make an impact for Israel and the Jewish people. What we're focusing on is activating leaders to identify and report local issues, to mobilize their communities, and to call for institutional change. And we're providing them with comprehensive support in order to do that. Some of that support includes educational resources like fact sheets, FAQs, current events newsletters, and workshops and presentations that help students respond to misinformation and false claims. We're also providing leadership training. Programs like the Stand With Us Emerson Fellowship are giving students the tools and the network to lead impactful Israel events and campaigns. As I mentioned, we're offering comprehensive support from multiple Stand With Us departments. The legal and strategic support we provide is empowering students to respond to anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bigotry in academic settings, in administrative settings. And as Brooke mentioned, we're also offering support in combating calls for boycott and divestment, anti-Israel resolutions, and other trends that we're seeing. And also, as you and Brooke said, Michael, we're helping students connect with friends and allies. We're helping them build bridges between different communities and making space in our movement for people of all backgrounds to join and take part. From a grassroots level, true impact is always going to revolve around student efforts being front and center and student voices being front and center. Students need to use all platforms possible to inform about what they're experiencing, the climate on campus, and to amplify their calls for action, the change that they want to see. We're helping students gather, work together, and fight for that better, safer campus climate. We're empowering them to step up and to lead, and they have our support every step of the way.
So important. And Brooke, it can sometimes feel like you're a lone voice, can't it? So How was it to have that Emerson training and to attend the conference and to understand that there are many, many people fighting the same fight as you are?
Yeah, it was incredible. I think amazing to attend these conferences and see how many students there are who are like-minded and who are experiencing similar situations on campus. I've made friendships at these conferences that have lasted till today. And I think, when you come from a campus and you feel like you're totally outnumbered and there may be very few people who support you, to see you have this wide-ranging, deep network of people standing behind you is something so powerful and meaningful for me.
And Rena, it's a new year, and there'll be many Jewish students feeling worried as they're taking these first weeks, their first steps on college. What message do you want to give them and to their parents?
Remember that you're not alone. You have an incredible movement behind you, an incredible organization behind you. Stand with us to support you in overcoming these challenges and driving meaningful change. Stay connected to Stand With Us so you can learn about resources, action alerts. You can get that critical support. Document everything. Encourage students to document incidents of anti-Semitism or bias on campus and to report those incidents. Report those incidents through school channels, but also to stand with us so we can help you and provide that support. Know your rights. Students should know what their legal rights are on campus, and Stand With Us Legal can help you address discrimination, harassment, or other illegal activity on campus. And we also have fact sheets that the legal department just published that you can find on our website to help you start learning about your rights. And speak up. Don't stay silent. When we see something, we need to say something. And if we come at this together, then we'll be able to impact so much more than if we were working separately.
Very important. And Brooke, what's your message as a student to other students this coming year?
Stand tall and stand proud. As Rena's alluded to, we have the facts, we have the resources, and all we have to do is speak up. And I think now is really the time to come together and to stand strong in our beliefs and stand firm behind our belief that the Jewish people have a right to self-determination. And it's not the time to be silent.
Well, Brooke, you should feel very proud of your leadership in the face of adversity, and we're proud of you. And Rena, I can't thank you enough for your leadership, and please thank your incredible team working across North America, also around the world. We'll be meeting some of those international students in a moment, for all that you do to support these student warriors. Thank you both very much.
Thank
you,
you.
Michael.